you don't care about veterans. I'm not saying that, but I am saying you might not care about the programs or benefits that might aid them, be it opioid treatment, be it just homelessness. Let's talk about cuts to the Department of Veteran Affairs due to federal cuts, etc., Doge, whoop whoop. Earlier this month, there were 1,000 people laid off who worked for the Department of Veteran Affairs. According to Fox News, there's another 1,400 being laid off this week too, right? Now, to be fair to them, according to the Secretary of Department of Veteran Affairs, Doug Collins, much respect to him, I watched this video and he said that all of these layoffs are non-mission critical positions to helping veterans, right? Now pause. I call BS to a certain extent because when I looked at some of the positions that some of these people had, case in point, researchers on opioid treatment, prosthetics, cancer treatment, I was like, well, some of that does sound critical, as well as saying that a lot of them too were probationary employees, right? And one thing I will have to acknowledge is even though he said in his own little media press that he did or video he published, even though he said that there would be no non-mission critical fires or layoffs, in the last few days, there have been some people who quickly have their positions reinstated by the Department of Veteran Affairs. So that let me know, oh, y'all effed up and fired some wrong people. He even said in that same press release that there's a rumor going around that we fired people who work on the suicide hotline for veterans, and that's never, I do a terrible Doug Collins impression, that's never happened. We wouldn't do that, but I have read that at least 12 people who were suicide hotline workers were fired too, right? But 2 of them did get their positions reinstated, according to one news report that I read, right? What's my whole opinion about this? They're saying that the $98 million that they save from all these cuts will get invested back into our country, will get invested back into benefits and programs helping veterans. You ask my personal opinion, I'm a little bit on the fence about that. I have heard from interviews from veterans that the Department of Veteran Affairs, the VA office, don't do to help our veterans, don't to help our people that have served overseas, right? And I'm kind of in a weird space about this because on one side, yes, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of federal workers who do not deserve to have their damn position. But then I also am kind of skeptical of how you're going to use this money to invest back into healthcare benefits for veterans, as he's saying, as Doug Collins was saying. And even though, because I don't think Doug Collins, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, I don't think he comes from a malicious place. He is a veteran. He served in the Iraq War in 2008. He's a member of the Air Force, much respect to the Air Force. So I don't think he's coming from a malicious place. I'm just kind of worried when you start talking about somebody at the top, how disconnected is he from the people at the bottom? One of the programs that got cut or had a lack of federal funding now is the Easter Seals program that you do have that helps a lot of veterans, dealing with treatments with you. So I start thinking about that a little bit more, like anybody